This is Prepping with Rex. I'm Rex. Let's talk about it. The world just keeps getting crazier and crazier. With all this war going on around us, I've been watching these videos of these young kids in Hamas and Gaza, over dealing with Hamas, and over in Gaza, Israel. These little kids are starving. They're cooking grass soup and big old pots of beans and rice, and these kids are just so happy to get these beans and these rice. My kids wouldn't imagine to have to eat beans for days, or rice and grass soup. They couldn't fathom that thought. That would be traumatic. For the U.S. to have to do stuff like that and not be able to go to the grocery store and get their groceries. That would be a traumatic incident. We do not live the life that these people have lived all their lives. You got to think, men my age, men 38, 40 years old, their whole life they watched their uncles go to war. They watched their uncles be bombed and killed, watched their churches and their schools be blown up. And in those countries, most of these third world countries that we've had beef with, that we've went in and we've basically bombed them to the ground, and we go in and we fix them and all that, for whatever reason. These are small countries. They've got bigger by the weapons and the training. We went in and trained them to blah 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 or whatever, but they have fed off of us, and they've got bigger and they've got smarter. Now you have a lot of them countries that are becoming allies with China and Russia. China and Russia's they put out the statement, 2 years ago, that they were tired of being oppressed by us. And 2 years ago, if not a little bit longer, they started telling their citizens to prepare for war. And I'm taking it that a lot of people in America take it that when they told their country, when China told their citizens to prepare for war, there was a time span on that. Like, it didn't happen, so you don't got to prepare now. No, they told their country to prepare for war, and this whole time, 2 year time period, whatever, since we've been beefing, they've been preparing for war, which they've been preparing all their life, that Americans are bad, and, eventually we're going to be the superpower, and this and that. They're going to go in and take Taiwan, they say, within 2027, which I think it'll be sooner. And I think, they're putting their cards into play. And Americans have no clue about the life that them people have been over there living. And if it happens to them, you look at the videos, and they had apartment buildings, they had stores, they had schools, people running around, sometimes happy, sometimes a little unhappy. And they were content in their universe, their world. But we have to have a turn. There has to have a turn. And if you believe in the Bible, for the longest time I didn't go for the Bible when I was on the total other side. And here really recently, in the last couple of years, I've gave myself to God, and I so heartily believe in God. And you pay attention to this Bible and the things that play out in this Bible, it's playing out. And I've been taking it serious. The last 3 years, I've been on this like, oh my God, I got to get ready. There'll be a day that I won't be ready enough, and it'll be the day that you can't get no more readier. Well, I recently started getting into these heifers. What this thing is with these heifers, and they have literally built a platform to walk these heifers off of, sacrifice them. That's what this Gaza and Hamas and Israel and stuff's about, is they wanted to stop it from happening. Their religion, they believe, and they believe their religion's wrong. Vice versa, they believe their religion's wrong. But this temple and all this stuff, they're trying to prevent this from happening. And, by sacrificing this, it does whatever ritual they're going to do, but it's supposed to open up another world of God, whatever they believe in. But you dig into this stuff, and it's like, you pay attention to the viruses we've been having, in America, our kids and our citizens have been getting sick more and more often. And, it's a lot of it's common stuff that we've already had, but, I've had a lot of incidents that my kids, every 3 weeks, my kids were staying sick until I took my youngest son out of school. But they were sick every 3 weeks. And, that's not normal to be sick every 3 weeks. And what they're hitting us with, and you take your kid to the doctor and they say, well, it looks like strep throat, but they're not testing positive for strep throat. So we're going to treat it like that. It looks like this, but we're not going to treat it like that. Okay, if it looks like that, but it's not testing positive for that, then it's something like that, but it's not that. It's something that you don't know what it is. But in their profession, they can't tell you, hey, we don't know what it is. They have to tell you something. And it's unbelievable. It's scary. You can't trust your government. You can't trust your doctors. You can't even trust the teachers to teach your kids in school. With everything happening, it's mind blowing. And I just don't see how every person in America, every national born American citizen doesn't stand up and say, hey, what's going on? What's going on? We want to know. We got a lot of crazy stuff. It's getting crazy, They're sacrificing these cows. I go out there in my yard and I burn 2 cows alive. The right people find out, they're going to come lock me up for animal cruelty. But it's not just a satanic group in backwoods Kentucky or backwoods West Virginia sacrificing a cat, a goat, or whatever. No, this is a whole country that believes in this. They believe what they're fixing to do, which they should have already done it by now. But they believe in this so heartedly that it's going to work. Then we got this solar eclipse coming up. States are freaking out. A lot of people say it's because they're going to have a lot of people there looking at it. You got a lot of people saying, hey, this was in the Bible. And, you got a lot of people there for the religious part. Then you got a lot of people wanting to look at it because of what's happening in the sky. They like to look at stars and moons and planets. But what they're doing and putting into this solar eclipse, it's weird. It's very weird. And, a lot of people say that they've never seen them act like this over a solar eclipse. And, I've been reading up on it a lot. I have. And, I don't really understand it, but some of it I'm starting to understand or get a little bit the aspect of it. But there's a lot of people shook. There's a lot of big people shook. There's a lot of governments doing this. It could either be nothing or it could happen. The solar eclipse could cause something itself, or our government could use this solar eclipse to cause us something. Whether it be power grid, mass outage, whatever. But it's coming our way. And if you believe in the Bible, you dig into that Bible, and there's steps that happen. There's things that happen in certain orders that lead up to this. And, we're leading up to it, which I still, in theory, think that we have a while. We have a while before the end of the world comes. God comes for his people. But the downfall up until that point is what's going to be awful. They say America's the strongest army. They don't know what we got. They can't handle us, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's going to be a fight. We go against Russia. We go against China. We go against North Korea. We go against all them countries. Once they band up and they say, we're all coming for you. We did bad stuff to all of them. We've tried to control all of them, police the world, blah, blah, blah. We've made all these countries, third world countries, poor countries, and we've took from them to make us the country that we are. And I strongly believe, as an American citizen, no matter who your president is, you're supposed to support him. If you didn't vote for him and he still became your president, that's your president. You support him. You got to take the good with the bad and the bad with the good. If you can't ride when it's going bad, what makes you think that you can ride when it's going good? Vice versa. That's just how it goes. But right now, this new generation that's stepping up, they ain't got it in them. The old generation before them, they're beat down in life. Life has beat them down so far. It's unbelievable. But what's going to come? And it's going to come. This year right here has already been wild enough. And by the end of this year, something major is going to happen. Whether it be a massive virus outbreak, terrorist attacks out the yin yang, war. We have a whole grace period of badness coming that will be there before God comes for his people. And a lot of people, and it gets on my nerves, a lot of people, I don't know everything about God. I don't read the Bible. I don't go to church. All I've picked up is what I've learned all my life off of individuals who believe in the Bible, know about the Bible. I interpret it how I feel, and my dealings with God, and I take it and I go with it. Oh, God's got me. God's got me. I'm not worried about it. He won't put me through it, or he'll make sure I'm okay. And I don't think it's that. God will make a way for you. He will always make a way for you. He will always give you the knowledge of what you need to live and survive. But he's not going to do it for you. You're going to have to do the back work. It's come to now. God has gave us heaven on earth. He has gave us the ability to choose right or wrong. He has put us in the predicament where we could have been anything in this world. We could have had anything. If you live a bad life before up until now, it was by your choice. Some people got dealt a bad hand, yeah. But if you didn't do it, it's not anybody else's fault, it's yours. The mistakes you made in your life is your fault. The hardness you brought on yourself, and I've had enough share of it myself. I brought it all on myself. Now we're going to have to stand up for God. If you back God and you believe in God 100%, he's going to show the way. He's going to give you everything you need. But you're not going to just be able to stand there and wait for him to do it for you. He's not going to do it for you. It's time that you rise up and you prove yourself to God. This is what it's going to be. Then after this period of god-awful badness, that's your judgment, going through this bad part of life. And there's a lot of people he won't make go through this, and he'll take them through death, I think. But they won't have to suffer this. We're not set up, our country is not set up to handle mass hunger, mass war, mass chaos inside of America. When all of our ships are out there in that ocean, all of our soldiers are on the border of the United States, and they're protecting them. They're protecting these people from coming in and invading us. When they're protecting that ocean from them getting to us to invade us more, America, inside of America, is going to be just total anarchy, chaos. You're going to have Americans going crazy. They've let all these foreigners across the border, and either they're going to use these foreigners to control Americans, because a foreigner who's been taught all their life that Americans are bad is more than likely going to put the law down on an American. You take an American soldier, an American cop, and more than likely he's not going to enforce something on that American that's not right. But you bring in foreigners, they'll do it. They don't care who runs this country. Whatever they're promised, they don't care. When their country comes knocking, you take Russia and you take China and you take North Korea and all the other bad countries, Iran, whatever, and they all start attacking us at once, and they send out that broadcast, hey, if you're from this country, it's time to see your sleeper cells rise. They're going to go with their country, especially if they're attacking us. And they might not be able to take us. Russia, China, all of them, our military might be strong. We might have the most powerful weapons ever. But it's the fight. It's going to be a fight. It's not like they're going to hit us and we're just going to demolish them. No. You seen what happened in Ukraine. Russia could have went in there and leveled that whole place, killed every single one of them, and been out in weeks. He's played it like chess. Do this, do a little here, do a little there, trying to make them, hand it over. But it was all a ruse. I strongly believe it was all a ruse. He linked up with China, which they've been doing this without the public knowing. They've been doing this for a while before they come out and told us that they were dealings with each other. But China's giving Russia, hey, yeah, go in there, do this, take it this far, and let's see what they do. Do this, and they're basically They're playing their role for right now. This is the role that they're playing. Now, what's going to happen? You got Russia in this war, and they're advancing. No matter what they want to say, they're advancing, and and even if they was running out of ammo, running out of equipment, didn't have good stuff, China has already come out and says that they support them and they back them. What do you think China's got? China's got some good stuff. If not better than ours, they got the top stuff like us. We're sending all these weapons to Ukraine, Taiwan. Okay, what happens when when they knowingly let us know, well, we're going to send 100 of these and a couple thousand of these, and we're going to send some troops over there to help Russia with this. They haven't done that yet. That's how you know that the Russians are not slacking or lacking. They're just playing their role, slowly waiting. That's what's going to happen. These countries are going to stand up and they're going to get in these wars. And you got China backing them. Well, if they go to lose, China's going to step in and give them the funding. They're going to step in and give them the weapons, just like the United States has stepped in and gave Ukraine what they've gave them. How can we be mad at another country for helping another country with weapons, ammo, and soldiers? We're doing the same thing. We got Americans over in Ukraine right now. They want to call them mercenaries. They want to call them rogue agents, whatever. United States has sent their soldiers over to Ukraine to fight against Russia. United States, the bad thing about it, United States has convinced the UK, has convinced all their allies, hey, send them these weapons. Send them a couple soldiers, send them this. That way it looks like the United States ain't doing it. But just how China's using all these other countries, Russia, North Korea, whatever else, Iran, to play this game of chess for them, United States is using their allies to play the game of chess with China. It's all about China and the United States. That's who's at war. We're just not in a war with each other yet. We're using all these countries around us that are our allies to fight with each other until it's go time for us. And we know, our country knows, whoever's controlling our country knows, the fight with China will be like a fight like no other. In America, and I gave the deadline of this year here, this year that we're in here, by the end of this year, if not sooner, something dramatic's going to pop off. I'm not going to say we're going to go into full force war with China or Russia, but we're going to get hit with something. If it's not another virus, if they don't shut us down again, if the United States don't come across and broadcast, hey, we're shutting America down, I think they're going to do what we've been doing to all these countries all along. When we get in a war with them, we shut off their resources. We shut off their trade route. We shut off their food. We shut off their gas. We shut off their ammo. We make it to where they can't receive weapons. We make it to where they can't treat their wounded soldiers. We put sanctions on them. Then they double around and get a bigger country to help them. But that's how we've won a lot of the wars we've been in. And the wars that we've been in, it's not really been with nobody powerful. Yeah, it was hard for us over in Iran, Iraq, whatever, because they knew the land. It was their land. But we still went in there and demolished stuff. Even though we didn't conquer and get done what we want and pulled out, we left them stuff. And if you don't remember, a couple years ago, they were talking about the airplanes and the guns and the body armor and uniforms and this and that equipment that we left over there. They were talking about sending them helicopters and them planes to China come in and figure them out. Well, China come in, figured them out, and got them back going. Hey, let's build your army. And now, instead of these guys running around with these dresses on and AKs, they got Humvees, they got attack helicopters. They're marching around in full camouflage uniforms, body armor. They got night vision, and they say a lot of our wars we won because we ruled the night. We could see at nighttime, and they couldn't because they didn't have night vision because they wasn't that advanced. They got it now. They got some of the same guns we got. They got some of the same training. You know, you don't hear about a lot of things, but China has been sending soldiers over there to train these guys how to be real soldiers. They went over there and They've helped them advance their military equipment, tactics, you know, and they've showed them. China has been building a military compound slash agenda slash strategy for umpteen years, you know, for a long time. And that's what a lot of people don't get. You know, Russia and China's number one goal, and they even said it publicly. You know, I forget, a year ago, 2 years ago, they even said that their number one goal was become superpower. That would put China as number one superpower. That would put Russia number two. Where would that leave room for us? I don't think there's a number three spot. But we are the three biggest countries. And their number one goal, they didn't say take us out. They didn't say blow us up. But their number one goal was to take over that superpower. You think that's changed? That's what they've been planning for over the last 20 years. They've just been building themselves, getting it ready. That's been their strategy this whole time. And our thing about it is, United States has kept the position they have. A lot of the laws and the rules that's made up between these countries, we made them up, and we're like, hey, you don't follow them, we're going to sanction you. We sanction them, it hurts their country. They go hungry, kids starve. And, you know, they've been dealing with this. They've dealt with us coming in there and blowing stuff up and killing their family for years and years and years. And now it's to the point it's like, hey, America, if you can go in there to another country and you can do all this, why can't we? What's stopping you? And I just don't understand. They keep soft media this stuff. We're providing high-tech weapons. We're providing soldiers. We're providing training in Ukraine. Ukraine is fighting a war, a hot and heavy, violent, nasty war with Russia. Okay, if we're giving them all the stuff to fight that war with Russia, aren't we in a war with Russia? And the thing about it is, the reason why it ain't went sideways with China yet, for one, I think America is scared. If China cuts us off from all access of anything getting shipped from over there, they go in that sea and they cut off all our trade routes, and they tell every country around that's their allies, no more dealing with the United States. No more letting them come through here. How are we going to be on the other side of the globe peacekeeping whatever country's over there messing up, that intentionally Russia's like, hey, y'all go over there and mess around, shoot at each other, blow shit up, work out your differences, let America come over. They're strategizing this. They're making this happen because they know, hey, America's going to go over there and play peacekeeper. And while they got these ships over there, while they got their people over there, we can load more of us. We can pack more of us. We can place them. We can get ready. And what's going to happen? They're going to close it off. They're going to make it to where we can't come back through there. Then when you can't come back through there, you realize there's another, on this other side of the globe, you got another big war that America's going to get involved in, and then they're going to be over there. And they're just going to work us out of stuff. Once they get us beat down, sick enough, they're going to hit us hard. They're going to take away our shipping. They say if China was to stop sending us stuff, if they would stop exporting us the goods that they export us, that it would dramatically hurt us. You know, what do we have in America? You know, our food, you know, used to, I remember where we didn't get like certain foods we didn't get out of foreign countries. We didn't get it because we were scared of safety. And we get a lot of stuff from a lot of different places. A lot of our medicines, you know, they cut us off of our medicines or the ingredient that goes in that medicine. If they was to do that all at once and we ain't got a game plan, that would hurt us a lot. You know, if they stop sending a lot of things like Walmart, they stop sending stuff, Walmarts are going to shut down. That's going to be, and that's like the number one top store that everybody shops at. You know, I went through a big ordeal. Was I was like, no, I'm gonna stop shopping at Walmart. I'm gonna go to my local Kroger's. I'm gonna go to my local little stores, and that's where I'm gonna grocery shop. And I tried it. I went in there, and I normally get the same thing every time. I went in there, and the prices of what I would get at Walmart were outrageous. And a lot of stuff that I'd get at Walmart, I couldn't buy at these little stores. I couldn't get from Kroger's. I couldn't get from the mom and pops, and it was just so much more expensive. And it kind of frustrated me because it was like, I have to shop at Walmart. I have no other choice. And that's what it's made. And, they take away Walmart, that's going to cause chaos in itself. Mom and pop stores, yeah. You're going to have Kroger's, yeah. But how long can they go for? China was to cut us off completely. They're not just going to stop sending us what they deliver to us that we're paying them for. You think they can't make up the money they make from us from other countries? They say, hey, we'll send you these goods, but you're going to become our ally. We're going to offer it to you so good that you can't turn it down. We're going to knock off $1 trillion more than what you would pay from America, or what America pays from you, for you just to deal with us. We're going to offer you safety. We're not going to let America come in here and control you, boss you around, and police you and tell you how to run your country. We're all going to eat together. We're gonna rise. We're gonna get rich. We're gonna take away the poorness of all your countries, and they could. How is Iran, Iraq? How are them countries poor? You can blame it on their government. People blame it on their government all the time. But Iran, Iraq, fucking all them countries over there, they're poor because of us. They're poor because we keep going in there for whatever reason, destroying them, then going in and policing them and trying to govern them by our laws. So then they get in a big fight with us because they're like, no, we believe in what we believe in. We don't believe in America's ways. Because, America, I'm American 110%, born American citizen. I'm the all-American boy when it comes down to it. The higher-ups in this country do not understand and do not know nothing about the life that the real American people live. And there's a scale. You got to have poor people, you got to have bad people, you got to have good people, you got to have your drug addicts, you got to have your hobos, your homeless, you got to have your middle class, high class, rich. Because if you didn't have a class of people like me, the class above me would not exist. If you didn't have a class like I live, you wouldn't have the class below me. It has to be there. And America in itself, one of the best countries in the world at one point in time, thriving, rich, got everything the American dream would everybody come over here for. It's not that now. But they oppress their own people. Not only do they oppress the countries around them and make them into third world countries, they oppress their own people to keep them down, to keep the poor people poor, keep the middle class, keep the scum. And some of your drug addicts and your lowest people, your shoplifters, your thieves, they're some of the best people that you could imagine. And if it wasn't for this country, maybe they would live a different life. Maybe if they was born in another country, maybe if our government really seen what this part of life was, this part of America was, and fixed us, these people wouldn't be as bad as they were. You go in this big war on drugs and, importing drugs and drug addicts and this and that, and then they come up with medicines to get you off the drugs and basically sell you drugs. The government basically comes up with a way to sell you drugs. But It's made. It's a made problem that they act like they want to fix, but they don't want to fix it, or they could fix it. They don't want to fix it because if they don't have this problem, then they don't have so many organizations. They don't have so many people who benefit financially off of this. The drug trade is like multi-billion-dollar business. And I'm not talking about the illegal drug dealers, the cartels who ship shit in here. I'm not talking about the street dealer that you can go buy a dime bag of meth or bringing in pounds of meth, your heroin addicts, your heroin dealers. I'm talking about the government. The government makes it possible for these drugs to get in. Your big drug dealers are rich. Your big drug dealers are businessmen. They own businesses. They have friends in high places. Maybe not your lower class dope dealers, no. But it's all brought in by somebody that has money. I don't know a guy who's selling an ounce of dope that knows a guy with an airplane that can bring in fucking kilos. It don't work like that. He's on a whole nother level. But the drugs are being brought in by people who with wealth, people who have connection to celebrities, people who have connections to people in the Congress and the government and law enforcement and the DEA, and they're not letting it all slip through. You watch what's happening, and DEA will go out and bust a guy selling a couple ounces. He'll go out and they'll bust your local trap house. They'll do stuff like that. What about the guy that's making $1 million a day off of it? What about the big guys? No, you're not going to bust him because the the government's benefiting so much by this guy bringing this in. Then they come up with all these clinics that takes the place of the drug, methadone, Suboxone, them shots or whatever. And that is in itself has become a business that is just $1 billion a year, if not more. And it's government run. It's like, hey, let's get these people off these cartel drugs that we can't tax. They're poor. They don't got jobs. They're strung out. They can't work. We'll throw them some medical card and we'll get them some free drugs. Free drugs is better than paying for drugs. Then, these people, they go to these clinics and they get their medicine, and all of it's covered by this free medical card that your governments gave you. They either sit there and get addicted to that drug, and that's the drug they're addicted to for a long time, or they take that drug, resell it, and buy the hardcore drugs that they want. But I don't care, from your fentanyl to your heroin to your meth, any illegal street drug that the government is not controlling, it does a circle and eventually it makes it back into the pockets of the government. It just does. Back in the day, I was reading some stuff. It'd been a while ago. The United States made, I want to say, a weapons deal. They made automatic weapons. They traded automatic weapons to the cartel for drugs, or vice versa. So they traded drugs. I think it was weapons. They traded guns for cocaine or whatever, and they ended up getting ripped off. The cartels, they got the guns, but America didn't get the drugs. And then it was like, oh, let's cover that up. Let's not talk about that. But that's contributing. Our government in America, from everything I see, everything. School is part of your government, from your elementary schools to your colleges. That's part of government. We've been taught all our lives to believe in these people. Teachers are right, principals are right, and this, and they're not. They're just normal people. You're hearing every day about, my daughter, she had a gym teacher, and, they hemmed him up, locked him up, fired him, and locked him up. Apparently, he had pictures of little girls on his phone, and he was looking at the little girls' butts and stuff, and big ordeal. But they're in their own little world right now. Teachers aren't what they used to be. Teacher could grab a kid's attention. Now it's not. I got a son in 3rd grade, and they're already teaching him about gender. They've made him completely soft. I can't kid him to pack a heavy board for me. And, a little boy should want to show their dad that, hey, Dad, I'm strong. Look at me. No, he's straight addicted to game systems and TV, and if it's a little bit of work, he don't want nothing to do with it. It's a fight to get him to clean his room. And you know, our schools are teaching our kids this. They're teaching them to be sissies. They're teaching them to, teaching our sons to turn into girls, and teaching our daughters to turn into boys. And they're starting their lives early. And this generation, what do they have? What do they have? I can almost guarantee my son at 9 years old, by the time he becomes a man to put his education into use, something will happen. He won't put that education in use. He better learn with his hands, because that's what we're going to need. Then you have all these rich people, and how does a person have $100 million? That's like this Epstein list. Epstein's all his stuff that he had. This stuff going on with P. Diddy. This list that came out, it had all these $1 million celebrities on it and all that. I think they should go in and they should take all their shit. They should take all their houses. They should take all their money. They should make these people the dirt poor. They should take everything from them and say, hey, go work at McDonald's. We're dividing your money and everything worth value up. We're going to divide it. We're going to divide it against the American citizens. We're the guys that suffer. We suffer, for these people to be rich. And, a lot of people don't see it, but if you track everything down, they've beat us down. My class level, the lower class level, that doesn't have $1 million in the bank and can comfortably go to the grocery store and not worry about how much money you spend. They ain't got to worry about that $400 power bill coming in each month. They ain't got to worry about paying rent. They ain't got to worry about buying your kids them new shoes, because you got the money to do it. I don't understand it. How do you end up with that much money? How does the man who breaks his back and does the physical labor get paid less than the man that sits at the desk? America's backwards. Our country has deformed into a backwards country. It makes no sense. You think the man who physically hurts his body, when he becomes 60 years old, he can't move, his back hurts, he's had surgeries, bones hurt, hands crinkled up. You think that man would be paid more than the man that's sitting up there typing on the computer and got arthritis? And they say, well, that's what they go to school for. Okay, no, they went to school for is not to have to work hard, because they didn't want to work hard. That should be their reward. Not getting paid more than me, not getting paid more than anybody else doing physical labor. It's backwards. It's another thing. It's like with your food industry, even McDonald's, restaurants. I think nowadays, in this last couple of years, restaurants have just completely went off the chain. They suck. You can't get good food. You can't get good service. You can't get nothing good at a restaurant no more. But I do honestly think that they should be paid damn good. The person in there cooking my food, I want them to be happy. I want them to be so happy with what they're doing that they don't care to come to work, because they enjoy making that good money. And they should be on one of the top scale pay levels that we have, because they deal with our food. They deal with stuff that we eat and put in our body at any time could hurt us, kill us. If they cook it the wrong way accidentally, if they do it on purpose, it could hurt us bad. But we don't. We bitch at them and say, well, you should have went to college. You should have went to college. Well, somebody's got to do it. If you don't want to flip hamburgers, you should go to college and learn you some kind of degree. That way you could take it easy and sit on your ass and not have to work hard. But you shouldn't get paid more than the man working hard. I just don't understand that. It's like you take a roofer. He gets paid less than the guy that owns the company, that controls the company. We won't say that owns the company, because he owns it, but basically he gets paid less than the guy who sits behind that cute computer and that phone and makes deals. No, you're going out and you're working. Roofing's hard. I've roofed many a times. But he should get paid more than the guy sitting on the phone, sitting back in the air conditioner. He really should. Our foods, they put stuff in our foods that's hurting us. Water right now, I've been watching this. I've been into this I think they said Iraq, something like that. They're Iranians. Be cautious with your water. They're trying to hack the water, our water resources. And so much of a chemical that they put into our water to clean our water, it could hurt us. It could kill us. So if they don't use enough, could hurt us. And, recently in the last 3 or 4 years, they've come out when they've had, I think it was Florida, Texas, they had a brain-eating bacteria, and nobody knew about it until all of a sudden somebody got it. That's a very dangerous thing because our water, you can't live without water. You got to have water, and you got to get water. And these cities, they don't have springs. They don't have, their water comes through a tap, to a filtration system that it's a water system. And if they're attacked, how many people would not know and get sick before they knew? Then what do you do when you say, hey, we can't control this? We're going to have to shut it off. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. And really our country, they say our country was founded on Christianity and God, Jesus, and all this, and this religion. But our country slowly went into a gangster country. We were who we were because we were just straight ruthless thugs. If you didn't give it to us and we needed it to help our citizens, we made a reason. We went over and took it. Which, I know it's bad, but this is my country. And for us to live the life that we've lived, that's what they had to do. And America is not the America it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And even then, we did some bad things that they just swept underneath the rugs. And I think we need to go back to that. And they say Trump's the one to stand up and, buck back, and he might get us in a war. Well, what I would do if I was president, before I let somebody hurt the United States of America, unless I knowingly knew they were going to do it and we had a deal and I was in on this, hey, you save my family and I'll let you come in and do whatever you want, like they say old Biden's doing, you're going to have to break bad. You're going to have to either go over and wipe one of these big countries. You're going to have to go over and just boom, knock them off the mat and be like, hey, look, back up or you going to get it. That's how we've always done it. And now it's almost like they're seeing us as soft, and they're like, what are you going to do? We're just as big as you. We're just as powerful as you. We will hem you up. And now they open these borders, and I think that the whole Biden side, which is he's being controlled, but I think the whole Biden side has brought he's either messed up, not knowingly, or whoever not knowingly let these people come in, or he's brought these people in to say, hey, look, we can no longer trust American soldiers to contain Americans. And for what's coming, we need these people calmed down. So they go in and bring in these foreigners that have no emotional attachment to Americans. So they'll control us, they'll kill us, they'll lock us up in concentration camps, lock us up in jails, and not even think twice about it, no remorse. You're going to have Trump's eventually, they ain't going to let Trump be president again. But the thing about it is, how can you steal it from him again? How can you tell him not to be president when damn near the whole world is probably going to vote for him? But they're not going to let him. Not only is he going to go for the bad people of our government and put them in their place and put them out of there, and we need all new government. It needs shut down and new people put in there. And that's what he's going to do. He's going to weed out these bad guys, and he's going to say no more, or we're going to sit and lie to America. We're going to tell them up front, this is what we got to do for our country. We're not going to sit over here and do bad dealings, trade guns, trade drugs, and do this no more. And he's going to get all the crooked people out, I think. But when it comes down to this election, either we're going to have a virus or either we're going to go to war and they're going to say, oh, we can't have an election now. Or they're going to say, Mr. Trump, you was not voted into president. Where Biden's going to run another term, or they're going to put one of these other lackeys in there and he's going to stand up and he's going to say, hey, we need to take our country back. Who's with me? Like that January 6th stuff. That wasn't Trump telling them to storm that White House. If Trump stood up and told people to stand with him, it was time to take America back. You imagine how much of the military would have ditched what they were doing and went and backed Trump. You imagine how many of the civilian population would have just stood up for him, grabbed arms, and been like, he would have had a hell of an army. He would have had a hell of an army. And I think it's what it's going to come down to. I think Trump's going to get so mad and he's going to get fed up with it. And in his heart, he's going to think he's doing the right thing. But the total chaos, our boats are out here in the ocean, floating around. We're at war with them. We're shooting shit off of them. We're blowing stuff up. We're using our boats to attack. The boats that we're not using to attack, we got them sprayed up here. We got them up there around Taiwan for when China goes in, which China, they say by 2027, China's going to go in on them. Well, I think they're going to go in. They're fixing to get ready. China has come out publicly and said, we're taking Taiwan back. If they don't want to come back to us, we're taking them back. And they've been telling us, we strongly suggest that you just back off, that you don't give them weapons, you don't go over there, you don't train. Same thing with Russia. Russia's like, hey, you put American troops over there, shit's fixing to break off. We find out that you're giving them this or you're giving them that, you're letting them attack us. And see, forever, the satellites in the sky that they're targeting with, we were the only ones that had that. Who was it? Elon Musk. He shut it down and said, no, my technology was not made for war and you're using it for war. And I think there's an ordeal going on with the government now that they're like, hey, you're going to start it back up and you're going to leave us alone. And, people like that, you go against the whole government and you'll wind up dead, disappeared, in prison somewhere, poison, all of a sudden you got sick, all of a sudden you car wrecked, all of a sudden your plane flew out of the sky. That's just how it works. They're going to use that Starlight or whatever it is that Musk has. But they were using that for Ukraine soldiers to target Russian soldiers. Then it come out that was happening. And Putin's like, no, you're going to quit that. By you doing that, you're in an active war with us. Hey, we're going to put these red lines. Do not cross it. We tell you, do not cross these lines. Do not do this, or we're going to see it as an act of war. And I can't tell you how many that I've seen that Russia's told us not to, and we've been doing it. And Russia keeps telling us, hey, there's going to come a time. There's going to come a time when enough's enough. And he's like, hey, you're going to have to either pick. We're doing this. If you go in and help these people, we're going to war. And I don't think America's ready for war with Russia. It's not just Russia we're going to fight. It'll start off us fighting Russia, but if we start getting the best of them, they're going to get sent weapons. They're going to get sent soldiers. They're already over there. Just like America, Every time you hear about America doing something, they've already done it. They're just coming out publicly and telling us that, like they're just now starting to do it. But no, they've already done it. We got Americans over fighting right now. You see soldiers in these videos, they're flying American flags proudly. They say mercenaries. Ain't no mercenaries. Our government's sending them over there. They're giving them the high-tech weapon. They're mapping it from satellites. They're giving them coordinates. This attack, this thing that just happened in Russia where they went over and killed this 100 and some people, like a mass attack, like guys with machine guns just mowing innocent people down. United States trying to blame it on ISIS. On fucking ISIS. Why would ISIS go over there and attack Russia? ISIS over, basically Russia's allies with the people country they live in. Why would they go over there and do that? Okay, I understand they're a different group than their country, blah, blah, blah. They've been fighting in their own country. But what's the problem ISIS has with Russia? There is none. There is none. ISIS has a problem with us. All of them have a problem with us. But we're trying to turn the tables on it. We're trying to put Russia on a fight in our ISIS. We're trying to put them over there in the desert that we just pulled out of and left them all this high-tech stuff. Because, it would be an uproar if we went right back in there after leaving this stuff and letting all our people get killed. because of a dumb mistake somebody made. For us to go back in there and open up this war again, it wouldn't make sense. It would be just stupid. It would be an outrage over it. But I'm telling you right now, ISIS is not going over here and attacking Russia. This was for Ukraine. Ukraine made this attack because, Russia went over here and they bombed and they've been over here shooting with soldiers. They've killed this many of their people. And basically, it was like a massive terrorist attack to them. You go in and you kill hundreds and hundreds of our people. You bomb our hospitals. You kill kids. Okay, we send some over there to shoot it up. They trying to play people against people, and it's not working. No matter what happens, Russia's going to be against America. They might find other people that they want to fight with and they don't like, and yeah, but they're going to always hate America. China is always going to hate America. No matter if they're fighting and killing other people, other countries, they're always going to not like us. And every chance to get a step ahead on us, they're going to do it. I don't know what has stopped them from stepping in on us. That's like G7 and all these organizations that we got that help control the world, help control countries. Basically, if you dig into it, like NATO and stuff, America has made these organizations. We've made them. We've set forth the rules that everybody's supposed to follow. Then we made an organization to put forth that law. That way it ain't looking like we're doing it, like we're trying to control the world. No, it's NATO. No, it's G-Force. Oh, we had this big group, blah, blah, blah. They're doing it. No, it's fucking America. And it trick no good. China's like trick no good. Hey. And, I don't care what they say. China is controlling. Well, not controlling. China is backing Russia. China is backing North Korea. They're all in cahoots right now. And the number one goal is defeat America. Either they're going to cut us off and let us burn ourselves and step in like peacekeepers like we've been trying to do with everybody else, or we're going to piss them off enough they're going to hit us. And like I say, they might not come in and just wipe us straight out. But you think of the fight. If Russia went straight in on us, China backing them, North Korea doing whatever they do, the destruction and the murder and the chaos that would happen from that attack. Then you take that. You got all your soldiers in the oceans. They're defending wherever. You got boats all the way over here on this side, and they can't make it back to defend America because they're stuck in between all this army boats and all that. So to get back over, they would have to fight their way back to America, to their homeland. You think about how many of them's going to die trying to make it back to the homeland to protect it. A lot of them ain't going to make it. But you take all the soldiers, land soldiers, that are protecting them from coming in farther on us, they're going to demolish us. They're going to start boom, 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 and work their way in. Then they're going to drop soldiers in on us. Then they're going to drop peacekeepers in on us. And that's what's going to happen. All these camps, all this torture, and all these things what we do in these other countries, they're going to come in and do this by force. They like Red Dawn. I don't think it'll happen exactly like Red Dawn flying out of the sky and all that. But yeah, I do think once they come in and they take so far of our country over, they're going to drop men in. They're going to drop equipment in. They're going to float them in on boats. And then they're going to try to advance. And slowly they're going to advance. And they're going to tell the American people, hey, your government's out of control. We're coming in peacekeepers. If you want to live, come to us. We'll keep you safe. Everything's okay. It's not. Concentration camps, kids are going to starve. And you just watching these videos over in Gaza, Israel, and watching these babies. I seen a little girl couldn't been no older than my youngest daughter. Her hair was a mess. It was all staticked out. She was dirty faced. It reminded me of my baby waking up. In the morning time when she wakes up, she gets up, she smiles and she stretches, but she's got bad hair and she's got curly hair. And, when she got that bad hair, it sticks out. And, and she wants her sippy cup and watch her movie, and she's happy to be awake. But I watch these babies, and this little girl remind me just of my baby, so bad that I cried. I couldn't imagine the thought of my child being so hungry and so wore down. She was crying. The little girl was crying because they had brought in food. You know, they had come in and cooked these big massive pots of beans and rice. I didn't see no meat. I seen beans and rice, big old pots. And these kids were lining up with pots and pans and bowls and buckets, anything they could feel. And they were just so happy that they were going to get a couple scoops of that liquidized beans and soup or grass soup, and they were going to get to eat. And they were so happy they were crying. Then you see videos of little babies basically starving to death. And the thing about it is, America goes in and supplies, and goes in and they're with Israel. They're with them. They're backing them 100%. And they're giving them weapons and they're helping them out. And they're doing that little thing in the sky with all these satellites, and which they say they don't, but they're doing it, and they're giving them more coordinates to bomb Gaza. And Israel goes in on Gaza, which I don't blame Israel. Which, when you dig deep into it, it's almost like unbelievable. Hamas is attacking because Israel is fixing to do this sacrifice, this religious sacrifice of these cows, and they're like, no, that dome that's our holy spot, and Israel's like, no, we're gonna that's our temple. We're gonna sacrifice these cows. Like, it's fucking crazy what the world is going through anyways. They're killing kids, they're blowing shit all up to the ground. We got a solar eclair that's coming, and just the world's all worked up about it. Then you find out, oh, this whole country is fixing to sacrifice cows on the hopes of holy and the simple, this temple and this and that. And Hamas is coming in like, no, that's our religion. We believe in our religion. It's all about religion. And it's like, shit's getting crazy. They hit us with COVID. Never in my lifetime have I watched the United States be shut down. Them tell you, do not go out of your house. Stock up some food. Stay home. If you're not an essential worker, do not leave your house. Mass virus, you're seeing millions of people, thousands at a time, dying. They got refrigerator trucks outside of hospitals that are packing bodies in. Your family member goes to the hospital with COVID, you can't even see them. They die, you never see them again. It's crazy. It's like some kind of sci-fi movie that you growed up watching, and it's unbelievable. Then they throw in these cows that they're fixing to sacrifice. I do that in my backyard, I'm going to jail. They're going to get me for animal cruelty. And like I say, it's not some backwoods colt in Kentucky or West Virginia that's chanting around a fire and sacrificed a cat or a goat. No, you got this whole country that solely believes this is what it's going to do. Then black matter, they got this black matter. I read this thing. They're going to start CERN up. When this eclipse comes through, they're going to start the CERN up. And, from my understanding, that's what CERN was. I don't understand it completely, but it's something to do with God and figuring out, if it exists or whatever. They're going to find out dark black matter, stuff that you can't see, stuff you don't know is there. But they're going to figure it out. They're going to start it up right when this eclipse happens, right after this sacrifice of these heifers happen. And you pay attention to this Bible, and certain things play out in certain storylines. We're getting down there to them storylines, like the sacrificing of the heifers. Then you got the eclipse coming. Then you got the whatever else coming, but it's going in a sequence. And then they're going to shoot rockets towards the moon or at the moon just for the sound. Leave that shit alone. I always told people, do not fuck with Ouija boards. It's not that I don't believe in spirits and stuff like that, but that's something you shouldn't mess with. Why would you want to bring spirits? Why would you want to mess with something that's not in this life? It's not in this life. You don't know what you could open up. I really don't know what you could open up. That's like Euphrates River running dry. That was one of the things in this sequence of everything leading up to whatever's coming. And this Bible, my cigarette keeps going out, but this Bible is predicting all this and it's coming true. And I think that this Bible is a storyline of what happened in their time leading up till now, which, a lot of people's probably changed it and said what they wanted to say, but a lot of stuff is making sense. A lot of stuff is adding up. Like I say, there's a storyline. This happens, then this happens, then this happens, then this happens, then this happens. In America, what's going to happen? And it's not going to happen in this next year. I think in this next year, something dramatic is going to pop off. It's going to lead us into whatever's coming. But within the next 2 years to 3 years after this year, America's not going to be the America we see now. It's not going to be what I seen when I was a kid. It's going to be bad. Once they shut down these borders and Americans don't leave America, once you don't get imports from foreign countries, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't heard of no big constructions of warehouses and constructing the things, everything that we get from a foreign country, we should be producing here now. We should build warehouses and equipment and robots to be able to produce that here. Our grid, they shut our grid down. If they can't get that grid back up within a couple years, you imagine the chaos from that. We have a high, big population of preppers and doomsday people that are ready for this to happen. They've been training, they've been practicing, they're ready. So they're going to do okay. You got a homeless population who's been living like this anyways. It's not going to hurt them that bad. You think the drug dealers and criminals is not preparing for what's happening? Think all they do is drugs and sell drugs? No, they're getting ready. They're building their gangs, they're building their groups. And that's what's going to happen. When this shit pops off and they shut our power off or they shut down America, they shut us down like they did with COVID when it first happened, you're going to watch. And, militias, militias are supposed to be good. I'm sure you got your bad militias, but you got actually militias who are good. The criminal part of our world have become militias. Gangs, they're technically a militia. And what do you think is going to happen? Like all this crime in New York and all this crime in Chicago, they're going to form their groups. You're going to have a lawless world. Then you're going to have your law enforcement and your higher up people who are in that law enforcement. They're going to form their groups.